The views and opinions on this show do not necessarily reflect the views of ESPN Tucson 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4, or the Arizona Lotus Corporation.
Welcome to Spears and Ali on ESPN Tucson.
Justin Spears, I like that.
With Justin Spears and Ali Farhang on 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4, ESPN Tucson. Brought to you by Tucson Federal Credit Union, the Volpe team at Nova Home Loans, and Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
I want to be entertaining, but I'm not stupid enough to compare myself to Ali.
This episode of Spears and Ali is brought to you by the Volpe team at Nova Home Loans, Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, and Tucson Federal Credit Union. Welcome back to Spears and Ali. Got a special guest joining us, Arizona star quarterback Noah Fifita. Noah, good morning. Good to see you, man.
Good morning, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing great. Thank you for joining us. And, man, it's going to be a fun weekend at the Tucson Convention Center. You're going to be the honorary captain for the Tucson Sugar Skulls, you and your younger brother, Dash Fifita, who's a freshman linebacker for the Wildcats. You've been to an IFL game before. You've been to a couple of them. What's it been like for you to watch the Tucson Sugar Skulls, the IFL, and how excited are you for this Saturday to be an honorary captain?
Yeah, I have been to a couple. It's been a blessing. It's been super fun to watch. At the end of the day, football's football. So being as a football fan, being able to watch football is always great. And then being able to see kind of the different nuances was awesome. I remember the first time I went last year at the championship game to watch Jaden. It was so fun to watch them. We went as a team a couple of weeks ago. So they do a great job at the Sugar Skulls putting on the event. And I'm super, super excited to go back.
Can you imagine if you could get your receivers like Trey Spivey and Gio Richardson running starts before the play even happens? You'd be unstoppable.
Yeah. I don't think that would be fair for sure.
But this partnership with the Tucson Sugar Skulls, I think it's really cool with the U of A. How much has the U of A gotten close with the Sugar Skulls in the last year?
I think it's got a lot closer because in my prior years here, we never, to be honest, I didn't really know about the Sugar Skulls, and then we rarely went. So I think for Coach Brennan to kind of put an emphasis on that, being able to support them, being able to support Tucson in that way is awesome. But that's who Coach Brennan's always been. He's such a genuine guy. He loves the people. He loves the people of Tucson. He loves the community. So that's a great leader to follow.
You know, Noah, I think that people talk about culture a lot, and it's kind of one of those things that you know it when you see it, but it's hard to describe. I know Coach Brennan, it starts with him and the other coaches, but guys like you, vets of the team that have been around for a while, how much of an impact do guys like yourself make on the younger guys coming in and letting them know what Arizona football is all about and the standards that we hold ourselves to?
A lot. And Coach Brennan gives us a lot of that kind of leniency. He relies on our leadership. He relies on the older guys and things like that to be able to bring the young guys along. And then you do that with words. And obviously our culture and our standard is red line. And you hear that all the time in interviews. You hear that all the time in the facility. So it's clear cut. We know what the standard is. We know what the expectations are. Coach Brennan has emphasized that day in and day out. But more importantly, you show that through your actions, and you show that through especially right now in summer workouts. This is where you build that culture. This is where you build that identity. And this is where the leaders and the guys have to take over, because coaches aren't as present. Coaches aren't at practices right now. These are player-run practices. So this is where we have to earn our stripes. This is where we build the culture, build the identity of this football team that we want to carry us into the season.
And every team has its own identity, right? Like last year's team is different from any other Arizona team in the past. But when you look at the collection of guys that you have right now, just going through the summer workouts and everything, just tell us about the culture of this year's team and how you guys are, looking to have a big year once again.
Yeah, I think we're definitely older, so there's a lot more experience on our side, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So for us, it's more vocal leadership. The best teams, it's always preached. Every coach preaches this as well as Coach Brennan, but the best teams are player ran. The best teams are held accountable by the players. So we're definitely trying to grow into that aspect. And Coach Brennan and Coach Deggy and Coach Gonzalez, they've definitely kind of had those conversations with us where we got to take over and we got to be more assertive. So you kind of see that. And then for us, Coach Cullen Carroll, our strength and conditioning coach, he does such a great job in terms of building mental toughness, in terms of building physical strength, but also he's kind of the guy that takes over over the next 2 months in terms of building Redline and building and showing what that looks like. So this is where we build our foundation. This is where we have to really go to work mentally and physically to be able to get us ready for fall campus season.
Now that you're going into your last season, just how are you handling just preparation? How are you just going about this offseason and getting ready for your last year?
I think every season is similar in the mindset space. I think there's even more of an emphasis because I know it's all or nothing now. This is my last opportunity to do what I said I was going to do. This is the last opportunity to do what I came back this year to do, which is win a Big 12 championship, which is win a Rose Bowl, and put us in that conversation. So it's all or nothing. Everything that I do is with the mindset like I'm playing, I'm all in. There's no more house money. There's no more chips. I'm all in. Everything I got to do what I said I was going to do. So, but at the end of the day, it's like I'm backed in the corner, but this is where I'm comfortable. Me and Coach Deggy talk about that all the time. When everybody's against you, when like you have no leeway. This is where we're comfortable because the only place we can go is forward.
No, you didn't always play quarterback. I mean, you started out as a linebacker and offensive tackle, if I remember correctly. You ever, I mean, look, I know you're wearing the red jersey in practice, but you ever kind of want to get, mix it up a little bit? Those linebacker tendencies never die, right?
No doubt. Physicality is kind of what, especially growing up in a Polynesian family, my dad kind of instilled that in me. So there's definitely that desire to be violent. There's definitely the desire to put your shoulder down a couple of times, especially now that my little brother's on the side of the ball, on the other side of the ball. So I'll definitely try to persuade Coach B and Coach Deggy to let me put a blue jersey on for a day, but I don't think that's going.
Yeah,
Man,
I don't think that's a good idea.
Well,
let's not do that.
Well, I tell you what, man, Dash Fafita really showed the Fafita mindset this spring. I saw Dash Fafita, 5'7", 190 pounds, put like a 6'6", 315-pound offensive lineman on his heels a little bit. How's it been watching Dash settle in his first year?
It's been a blessing. He's a professional. And then I mean he's an alpha. So he's been great his whole life. And you can see that every time he steps on the field. He has a confidence and belief to him that nobody can mess with him. And at the end of the day, when you are on the smaller side, you have to have that. You have to have that chip on your shoulder. So I got to watch him a lot growing up, but I think it's more special to see him work in the off season and then watching him on the field of spring ball, having a close up personal look at that was a blessing.
Speaking of your off season, you're going back to the Manning Passing Academy this summer out there in Louisiana. You were there last year as well. Your coach Seth Agee was there in 2011, if I'm not mistaken, and was roommates with Nick Foles. So I'm sure he's got all sorts of stories to tell you about that. But what do you remember about the Manning Passing Academy, that experience, and how much are you looking forward to this year?
Yeah, it's a great experience. They do such a good job. From the football part, obviously learning from the Mannings is a blessing because they're two of the greatest to do it ever. But I think the social part is an underrated aspect of the camp because you're there with the top quarterbacks in the country. So you're building those relationships. You're having those conversations. You have those experiences at the functions and at the socials that you go to. So it's so great because then during the season, you play some of those guys. I remember last year, you have some of those interactions that you go back to the Manning camp where you kind of remember some memories from there, such as Avery Johnson and Rocco Becht, and then even Kevin Jennings in the bowl game. So there's a respect that's built, there's relationships, and then obviously you learn so much as a quarterback and as a player.
I don't know how much of the NBA championship you watched, but I've been calling Jalen Brunson the Noah Fafita of the NBA. A guy that really underappreciated a lot of times, underrated. And I give Justin a lot of grief for being a sports writer that doesn't know anything about football and these preseason lists. When you see these lists of like best quarterbacks or where Arizona's going to finish, does it put a chip on your and your teammates' shoulders when people are overlooking you continuously?
Yeah, to an extent. It kind of goes both ways. You see the list, and to be honest, Coach Deggy wants us to see those lists to put a chip on our shoulder. And him and Coach G kind of remind us every day that nobody truly believes in us. People can say that we're contenders, but nobody outside of our facility and probably outside of Tucson truly believes we could go win a Big 12 championship. So you have that aspect of it where you want it to drive you, you want it to be motivation. But at the end of the day, those lists have never mattered in my eyes or in this team's eyes because, like you said, I mean, people constantly show that rankings and preseason rankings don't matter. You look at Jalen Brunson. You look at us last year. People thought we were going to be 16th in the country, and then I hate to bring this up, but the team up north was 16th in the country when they ended up winning as well. So at the end of the day, those rankings, preseason rankings, never matter. My dad always says rankings don't matter until the final rankings, and that's just kind of something that we live by. So there's a balance. There's a balance to have a motivation. There's a balance to have an edge, but there's also that part where you can't live by that, because at the end of the day, none of that matters. If we're number one, if they have us number one in the country, in the same way, you can't look at it because you can't get content. So it goes both ways for sure.
Yeah. See, Justin, it doesn't matter.
Preseason lists don't matter.
I'm like,
right?
yeah. What are you watching spring ball of Baylor? You know what? The left guard is going to be the first team all Big 12 preseason.
Yes. We're talking with Arizona quarterback Noah Fifita right here on ESPN Tucson. Noah, I'm putting together a Mount Rushmore of U of A football, and I've got Teddy Bruschi on there. I've got Ricky Hundley on there. I've got Chuck Cecil on there. And Noah, considering the stories and what you mean to Arizona football, I'm putting you on that as well.
I appreciate that.
On the Mount Rushmore of U of A football. Now that you're here, what has it been like for you just to be a part of the program? And how would you summarize the ups and the downs and the story and everything that you've gone through since coming to Arizona?
It's been a blessing. It's been nothing short of a blessing. This is more than I could have ever prayed for, more than I could have ever imagined. And that's just the way my God works. So I'm extremely grateful to him. I know that I wouldn't be in this position without him. So that's a reason, in my opinion, you can't be cocky. I can't boast of my own abilities. I can't boast of what I've accomplished, because at the end of the day, I believe I'm just a vessel. So I think God's working through me, and I'm excited to see what he has in store. But I wouldn't have changed it for the world. I probably wouldn't have a 4-8 season in my book, but I've definitely learned from it. I've learned from the ups, I've learned from the downs, and now, like I said, this is the last opportunity to take everything that I've learned and go full speed ahead. So I'm excited for what this year has in store. I'm excited for the personnel we have, and then obviously when it comes to the leaders, I think we have, when it comes to the head coach, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, I think we have everything we need to be able to allow us to go accomplish what we believe we could do.
Those other three guys, Chuck Cecil, Ricky Hundley, and Teddy Bruschi. I know you're probably closer with Chuck and Ricky more so than Teddy, but Teddy, when Jet Fish was here, was hanging around the program. What's it been like getting to know those other three guys?
They're they're all in the College Football Hall of Fame, first of all. So I think I got a lot more to prove and a lot more to do to be able to be in that conversation with those three. But when it comes to Coach Cecil and Coach Hundley, at least, I think when you talk to them and when you're around them, they're the most humble people you'd ever be around. And they've been that way since I've been back. I mean, they're in the facility, so every time you walk by, they say hi to you. Every time you ask for stories or ask for advice, they're right there to talk to you. So I think they're so special. And Coach Cecil especially, I'm super close to him because he's on the opposite side of the ball now. But there's a story about Coach Cecil. We're talking about a top 3 player in Arizona history. A guy that is in the College Football Hall of Fame, a guy that had a successful career in the NFL, and a guy that they changed the game of football for, adding a targeting rule. But you're talking about that guy, and then that's the same guy who is in the receiver room, and somebody asked for water, and somebody asked for chips. And instead of walking to the across the hall to grab water there, he walked down the street to Circle K, across the street, grabbed chips, grabbed water, and brought it all back for the receivers in their meeting. So you talk about that humility. I think Coach Cecil is one of the best guys I've ever been around, and he's one of the best golfers I've been around as well.
He's a
good golfer.
He's
too.
a good stick on the golf course, and also one of the best dudes you'll ever meet. No, I'm wondering, from your perspective, I know it's early, and winning time is now with the off-season training, the weight room, the players getting together. But based on what you've seen so far, can you give us something under the radar that Arizona football fans can be excited about, that we're not talking about, that we should be looking forward to with this team coming up this year?
Yeah, I can't give you too much, but I mean, I know our standard and our expectations. What Coach B and Coach Deggy, the mentality they built is special, and that's what you saw last year. But that edge is here now, so we're gonna play with the mentality. We're gonna play with the edge that we're the best on the field. And then defensively, I know there's a lot of people that are worried because we lost 5 great DBs, but I mean, you bring Javion Cole back, who I think is going to be the best corner in the Big 12. You bring some transfers in like Malcolm Hartzog and Dalen Austin. You get Gavin Hunter back. So we're going to reload on that side. And then you talk about that front seven. And I know going to spring ball, dealing with that front seven and what Coach G's scheme is always hard to go against. But then you see the personnel that we have there. Trey Smith comes back, who is one of the best D linemen I've ever played against. You get Chase Kennedy and Tay Brown. You get Mace Pese. Don Lolesio had a great spring. So defensively, we're gonna reload. So there's no worries there. I promise you, Coach G is gonna get that side of the ball right. And then offensively, this is gonna be the most explosive offense I've been a part of. You talk about the depth you have at receiver. You're 10 guys deep. Isaiah Mizell is having one of the best summers I've seen. But then you go add Gio Richardson, who's going to have a breakout year. You add Trey Spivey and Chris Hunter. So you got the receiver room, our running back room. You have 4 deep. You have Quincy Craig. You have Ked Reesino. O-line, we got all our guys back. And then that tight end room and Josh Miller is going to be special. So I promise you we have the personnel to be explosive. We have the coach and we have the mentality we need to be the best offense in the country. And then we have that belief.
Man, that's what cogent football talk sounds like.
Yeah.
Yes, that's good to get.
Ollie was like, please say under center. Please say under center.
Yeah, I'm an under the center guy, but we don't have to get into it. Let me ask you this. I'm going to give you 3 NIL ideas. I want you to tell me how you like them. First of all, fajitas falafels. I don't know how that's not a thing, right? Right.
For sure.
Danny G's espresso shots because of his personality.
The red line latte.
The red line latte.
That's
right?
a good one. I like that.
And then I came up with another one I just like. Nobody else does. Brennan's French onion soup.
I said Brennan's bagels, but
I don't get the French onion soup.
No one does.
No one
That's
does.
why it's funny.
no one does.
Yeah.
All right,
funny,
real quick, no. Fajitas, man.
This is-
Chili's, man.
It's
Get
right
it
there.
done.
Let's
Get
go.
it done.
Let's go.
No
El
doubt.
Charo.
Real quick, Noah, now that you've been a part of the Pac-12 and the Big 12 for multiple seasons, how would you compare the two conferences now that you've gone through the gauntlet?
Yeah, football's football, and there's good teams in both conferences. I think that 2023 year, the Pac-12 is one of the best, arguably the best conference that year. What do you talk about? A team standpoint, but then you go down the list with the quarterbacks that we had in that conference is amazing. And then obviously the Big 12, I think it's an open conference this year, so I'm excited to go put our name in that hunt. But both conferences are amazing. Both conferences have great teams, great atmospheres, and I'm super blessed. I know I'm always going to be biased to the Pac-12 because I grew up on the West Coast, watching those teams and being able to go back to California once a year. So definitely miss that, but super excited for the Big 12 and the opportunity it presents.
That is Arizona star quarterback Noah Fifita joining Spears and Ali on ESPN Tucson. College football season right around the corner, but Noah's got a very busy offseason. He's going to be at the Tucson Convention Center. Him, Dash Fifita, and many members of the Arizona football team, Noah and Dash, will be the honorary captains for the Tucson Sugar Skulls game Saturday night against the Arizona Rattlers. Get your tickets by going to TucsonSugarskulls.com. Also get it at the TCC box office. Noah, you the man. Always appreciate you and your time, man.
Thank you guys.
no,
Appreciate
if
it.
you would do me a favor, you can spread this to all your teammates. When Justin Spears is asking you questions, he's secretly really a fan. So no matter what he says, you can let him know he's really a fan.
No doubt. Justin's one of the real ones for sure.
Hell yeah, man.
I appreciate
you're
y'all.
the best. Appreciate
you,
you, man.
Noah.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.